Hey guys, Victor here, coming at you again with another deck profile, and for today's video we're going to be doing an updated Fiendsmith Dark World deck. Now, compared to the previous one, I've basically overhauled it completely, and I made a lot of really, I don't want to say drastic changes, but like you're definitely going to be noticing a difference, and that's mainly because we did actually receive some new general Fiend support in Duelist Advanced that I just barely became aware of, and it just completely changes the way that both this one and Danger Dark World pretty much like function, as it pretty much gives the deck so many different brand new lines that you can go through, and I'm honestly just really excited to show you guys. So with that out of the way, let's jump right into it. As always, we're going to be starting off with the monster lineup first, and the first card we're going to be talking about is of course Genta, Gateman of Dark World, right? People keep saying I should be playing 2 of this card, but this is one of those cards that you just always want to see in your hand because it literally gets your entire engine going, so I'm just never going to agree with that point. Straight up. Yes, you discard this card, it gets your entire engine going because it adds the Gates of Dark World to hand, and then the Gates of Dark World immediately has fodder, so you can discarding cards and start drawing cards, and when this card is banished and you control a face-up Dark World card, which you will because you have the Gates of Dark World, it's able to special summon itself back once per turn, so like it just provides you with like a free body that you can just proceed to go into your extra deck with, and just the amount of value that this card generates is pretty much just unmatched in the entire deck, right? Then to accompany our 3 Gentas, we're playing our 3 Reign-beaux Overking of Dark World, who, when is discarded, is able to search your deck for any level 5 or higher Dark World monster. And in this deck, we're only playing Sillva and Grapha. Those are the only 2 that matter. Gold, Lucent, who cares? Those 2 guys are irrelevant. It's literally just Sillva and Grapha. But more importantly than that, this card is also able to bounce any face-up Dark World monsters from your, face-up field back to your hand as long as they're level 7 or lower. So it's just a great way for being able to replenish your hand and just continuously recycle your resources into even more like combo pieces, right? So yeah, 3 Reign-beaux, pretty solid. And then to accompany our 3 Reign-beaux, we're playing our 3 Snoww, Unlight of Dark World, who, when is discarded, is able to search your deck for any Dark World card. So spells, monsters, traps if you're playing them, I don't know, but point is it's just like another consistency piece. Then that's it for the 3 elves, and then for the 2 elves we're playing 2 Grapha, Dragon Overlord of Dark World, who is fine. Its discard effect is to pop cards, which doesn't really matter too much in this day and age. More importantly though, much like Reign-beaux, this is the other card in our deck that allows us to bounce our Dark World monsters back to our hand that are face up on the field. However, there is no level restriction like with Reign-beaux, so you can bounce back cards like Reign-beaux. The only thing is you just can't bounce back Grapha for Grapha, right? But that's perfectly fine. Just similarly to Reign-beaux, just the amount of resources that you get back because of cards like these are pretty much just greatly appreciated, I guess. So yeah, 2 Grapha, you don't want to play 3 because then you break on it. Then for the 1-ofs, we're playing the 1-of Sillva, Warlord of Dark World, and the 1-of ceruli, Guru of Dark World. So while the hand loop is not a major priority for this version of the deck, it's still a nice little piece of engine that we can access and do to our opponent every now and then. So I still wanted to include it, even though in all intents and purposes, it's basically just not needed. But it's okay to be a little degenerate sometimes. So that's why we're still including those. That's it for the Dark World portion though. And then for the other monsters, the first card that we're going to be talking about is going to be taking us back to Dark World decks from 2011, and that is Tour Guide from the Underworld. So Tour Guide from the Underworld is a really cool card, right? You normal summon it, then you get to special summon at a level 3 fiend from your deck, whether it's itself or this new card that I'm going to be talking about. Basically the point is it's a 1-card Fiendsmith combo, but because of the new card that came out in Duelist Advance, it's just so much more than that. And then the new card that we're going to be playing is actually Buio the Dawn's Light. So this card, it's pretty cool, right? Off the bat, if you have it in your hand, unlike with a card such as like Sanyan, right, it's not a brick, because what you can do is you can special summon this card from your hand as an extender, and then all you have to do is negate any like face-up fiend monster you control, which, I mean, if a fiend monster's on your side of the field, we don't really care about them anyways. We generally only care about like their graveyard effects for the most part. So that effect irrelevant, which means that this card is basically just a free extender. And then the more important aspect of Buio is that when this card is sent to the graveyard, it's able to search your deck for a Mutiny in the Sky, and that card is basically like it's a brand new fusion spell that allows us to recycle our fiend monsters by shuffling them back into the deck from the graveyard, and then whatever we summon out, it just allows us to either further extend or like break our opponent's board or whatever. Like this card, adding Mutiny in the Sky, and then because everything is a fiend in this deck, means that pretty much everything is going to be a possible fusion material at some point. Like I just cannot understate how, or I guess overstate, just how much of an impact these two new cards, or I guess this one new card, but it's played at 2 in my version, has on the deck. Like, it just completely changes the amount of plays, the way you can play, and things of that nature, that I highly recommend just trying it out yourself, just to see the amount of impact it has on a game, because like it really is that good. But that's it for that engine. And then for the other guys, we are still playing the Fiendsmith engine, of course, because this is a Fiendsmith Dark World deck. And as a result, we're playing our 2 Fiendsmith engravers, the 1 Lacrima, the Crimson Tears, and we're still going to be playing the Fabled Lurrie. No matter how many times you tell me, I am not going to be playing Fabled Raven, especially not with Tour Guide now, as Tour Guide is the premier normal summon in the deck, and like, Fabled Raven is fine if I'm being honest, but if that card gets hit by like Imperm or like Veiler, like, I guess, like, sure, you can still go into Fiendsmith combo, but I don't know, it wasn't good in 2011, it's still just not that great now. I don't know, but tell me why I'm wrong down below. Then for the other monsters that we're playing, we are still going to be playing a small danger package, but we're basically just doing it like a bunch of one-ofs, just because we need the additional discards for a little bit more consistency, as well as by playing them all at one, that means that no matter what, one of their effects is going to resolve, right? Which is not the case when you play them in multiples. So as a result, we're playing the 1 Danger Bigfoot for a potential pop, the 1 Danger Nessie to be able to search out our danger monsters, the 1 Danger Tsuchinoko because it comes out as a monster either way, either if it's summoned by its first effect or if it's being summoned by its graveyard effect, the 1 Danger Jackalope, which can summon out either itself or a danger monster from the main deck. And then lastly, the 1 Danger Mothman, which is basically just Dark World dealings, but as a monster. That's it for the dangers. And then for the honorary danger, we're playing the 1 Zalamander Catalyzer. It's not an RNG card, but it does allow you to discard a fiend from your hand in order to special summon it. So it's a little bit more controlled, right? It just doesn't have like any really good effects, I guess, besides discarding. But with that, that's the monster lineup. And now we can finally move on to the spell and trap lineup. Now that we're on the spell and trap portion of the video, the first card that we're going to be playing is, of course, the 3 Gates of Dark World, despite everyone always telling me to play 2. And the reason for that is because it's just a good consistency card, right? You're like, oh, but you'll break on it. No, you won't. We're playing 30 monsters to basically 10 spells and traps. Trust me, you have plenty of fodder to be able to make this card work every single time. And like, it's so free. You get to discard a card that happens to be a fiend, which is what you want to do in the first place. And then you get to draw a card, and all you have to do is banish a fiend, which, like I said, it's not hard to do in a deck that plays 3-to-1 monster ratios. So yeah, 3 the Gates of Dark World. I don't know why you wouldn't play 3. Let me know why I'm wrong down below also. Then for the 2-ofs, we're playing 2 Dark Corridor. It adds any Dark World monster and then allows you to discard a card, including the card you just added. But if you want to keep that card, say because you added like a Genta, for example, you can discard something else and have that trigger instead. That's it for the 2-ofs. And then for the 1-ofs, we're playing the 1 Dark World Accession to be able to fusion summon our Fiend fusions, which we play plenty of, 1 Triple Tactics Talent, and 1 Call by the Grave to try and prevent and punish our opponent for hand trapping us, 1 Card Destruction as the auto win button, 1 Fiendsmith tract so that the Fiendsmith engine works, and then for the final spell, we're playing the 1 Mutiny in the Sky. So, much like Buio, this is the other new addition to the deck, and this card just pretty much allows us to summon out every single Fiend fusion monster that we play in our extra deck, and just continuously extend and recycle resources, right? And all you have to do is shuffle back either 2 fiends or like fiends or fairies, not 2 or 2. There's like no specific amount or whatever. But obviously, because this is a fiend deck, we're going to be shuffling back fiends every single time, and we're going to be able to take advantage of this to be able to play some pretty unique and cool monsters that you normally otherwise wouldn't be able to see. And even other cards that we would normally be playing become a lot more easily summonable because of Mutiny in the Sky being extremely searchable thanks to our Buio. So yeah, this card, pretty cool and a really nice addition to both this version and the Danger Dark World version. And now with that, that's the spell trap. That's the spell lineup, but we're not finished quite yet because we are playing the 1 Fiendsmith in Paradise, which, you know, if you're playing a Fiendsmith engine, this is just the card that you send off your Lacrima to be able to have like another interaction with your opponent. And now with that, we are done with the spell and trap lineup, and we can finally move on to the extra deck. Now that we're on the extra deck portion of the video, the first card that we're going to be talking about is the only Exceed monster in the deck, and that just so happens to be DDD Wave High King Caesar, who just takes 2 level 6 Fiend monsters, which we play plenty of in the main deck and in the extra deck, which we will get to eventually. And you just attach a material and then you get to negate a special summon. So pretty good card, allows you to basically force out a nib if they have it pretty much immediately. And yeah, I don't know what to say, like the card's broken. That's it for the Exceeds. And then for the links, we're playing the 1 Fiendsmith Requiem to be able to summon out our Fiendsmiths from the deck, 1 Moon of the Closed Heaven, which is basically the card that you're going to be summoning off of your Tour Guide play every single time, to immediately access the Fiendsmith stuff, one Fiendsmith sequence to be able to fusion summon any of our Fiend fusion monsters, which just so happens to be pretty much all of them, one Muckraker from the underworld to reborn our Fiends as well as discard our Fiends, and this one discards for effects, so it does trigger your Dark World cards. We're playing one Akashic Magician just because in case we do end up going for Sillva, ceruli, you want to have some way to be able to bounce those cards back in order to like recycle them, right? But that's literally all it's there for, and even though like it's not the main focus of the deck, that means that this card, unfortunately or fortunately, depending on who's asking, doesn't really get like summoned all that much, but if you're not using it to bounce ceruli and Sillva, you can still use it to just like bounce an opponent's monster that they put under the extra monster zone. So, you know, you can still find ways to abuse it and punish your opponent in some shape or form. Then we're playing the one IP Masquerading, which allows us to go into the SP Little Knight. And then lastly, we're playing the one Saryuja Skuldred, just because this deck, similarly to Danger Dark World, just pumps out a bunch of monsters on the field. And sometimes you just need to be able to draw more cards in order to actually be able to play the game, as well as just fix your hand by putting the bricks back into the deck. So yeah, ones are usually pretty good. That's it for the links. And then for the fusions, we have the Necroquip Princess and the Fiendsmith Desiree, which are just standard pieces of the Fiendsmith combo. Then we have one Aerial Eater, which is another level 6 Fiend monster that when it's summoned basically just allows you to foolish any Fiend monster. And this is great at just helping us get cards like Grapha and Reign-beaux into the graveyard immediately without having to discard them, right? Which sometimes can be a bit of a problem for the deck, but this just allows us to fix that pretty much almost immediately, right? Especially because you can summon it using your Mutiny in the sky and then immediately shuffling back like the Tour Guide and the Buio to make this guy. So yeah, I don't know, like this card is just really cool. And then it also has like a graveyard effect where you can banish like Fiends from your graveyard to summon itself back, but we don't really care about that just because we don't really want to like banish our cards, especially because typically they have to be like the same level, I believe, right? So that means that you'd be banishing cards like your engravers or like your graphas and your Reign-beaux, and we kind of want to avoid that at all costs. Then for the next card we're playing, one, the Duke of Demise. So this card is actually really cool, and what it does is, first off, it gives you an extra normal summon. So if we were playing Fabled Raven, we could like normal summon it after this, but we don't really care about that effect, and typically by the time this card hits the field, your hand is a little bit depleted, so something like Fabled Raven would just be pointless, I guess. And its other effect though is really cool, because if it's in the graveyard, you can banish it to add any Fiend or zombie monster in your graveyard that's level 4 or higher back to your hand. So that basically means you can add anything, right? Like you can add back your Gentas, you can add back your Snowws, Graphas, Reign-beaux, you name it. As long as it's level 4 or higher, you can get that resource back and then just continue to play. And this card is just so cool, and it is also a level 6 Fiend, so you know it's another card that you can use to go into your Caesar potentially or whatever. But yeah, I don't know, like this card, these cards like Aerial Leader and the Duke of Demise just allow you to have so much skill expression with this type of deck that I really love them. Like I don't know if that comes across well in this video, but like they're just so cool. Then for the other card, we're playing one Loose the Dust Dark. This is the one that I'm most iffy about. But basically, it's just like another generic fusion monster that takes Fiend monsters, either 3 Fiends and or Fairy monsters from like, or in your graveyard, right? Which is perfectly fine, because that means that we're typically going to be using cards like Dark World Accession, which can actually summon this, because Dark World Accession summons Fiend fusion monsters, or our Mutiny in the Sky. And it's just like a really cute card, because like when it's on the field, cards in your leftmost or rightmost columns, can you see that? Leftmost, rightmost. They basically just can't be destroyed by card effects, right? So that means that you just have like another layer of protection. And this card also allows you to break your opponent's board too, because what it does is you can send one Fiend monster or Fairy monster from your deck to the graveyard to pop a card on your opponent's side of the field. And you know, just having like another really cool card like this to be able to take advantage of is honestly just greatly appreciated. So yeah. While I said it's not the best card, it's still something nice that I like to try out every now and then, and seeing as how it just came out. But yeah, one Loose, perfectly fine. And then for the final fusion, we're playing the one Grapha Dragon Overlord of Dark World, because it's basically like our only form of like real negation, I guess. Even though it's not a negate, it just changes the effect. But it's still a perfectly solid card. And with that, that's the extra deck and the overall Fiendsmith Dark World deck. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, please feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch you guys next time. See ya!